What do you take away, just, I guess, going over the film from Sunday? Anything stick out, anything that you don't know or that's weak, or maybe some general takeaways?
Really good first night, given that, we had installed quite a few new concepts. And, the stuff that we were working on, we did pretty well with. The transition spacing was excellent. We shared the ball beautifully, 30-plus assists. Got a little sloppy at times, but that's to be expected. But I really liked the spirit and the energy. You guys played really well.
You've talked about wanting to marginally get better in specific areas. I mean, is there anything in particular that you would share?
Well, I think I mentioned to you guys that, once we got Jimmy, we cut our turnovers way back, and we forced turnovers. So we started winning the turnover battle night in and night out, and we finished the year 23-7. So we want to win that turnover battle from the beginning of the season. And then there's a few scheme things that we're doing that are a little different. A couple of offensive wrinkles, but in the margins, if we can make the improvement with the turnovers, with our transition defense, with our crashing. I mean, if you could keep winning those battles, you just you gain a few extra possessions within the game. Sometimes that's enough to win.
The free throw rate, I know, completely flipped when he got here too. How sustainable is that? Beyond, obviously, he's going to get his free throws, but team-wide,
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly Jimmy. J.K. gets to the line a lot. Most of the other guys, not as much. But, assuming Jimmy's out there, we know our free throws are going to go up, and then we can get our defense set. But this team is going to have to learn to play without Jimmy and Steph and Al and Draymond, and because of the experience that they have. Raymond didn't want me to call them old, so he said I have to use the word experience now. So because of their experience, they're not going to play 82, right? So maybe it's 65. I mean, we got to win, those other games, and we got to make sure we have a level of comfort with what we're trying to do when guys are out. No, he's just old. Yeah.
Steve,
Nick?
we talked a lot about the fit with Al and how seamless it feels, at least early. When you have an older player that comes into this system, how do you know as a coach that it has clicked for them?
You can just see it almost instantly. And there's a handful of guys who, we've had over the years where it's just instant, like you can just see it. I mean, some of it is just what good players they are, like, Kevin Durant, for example, or, David West, guys who have come from other teams and been brand new to us, and like almost a seamless transition. It's just basketball, and great players. And so not everybody's like that, but usually it comes with a guy who's been around for a little bit and knows the league, knows the game, understands spacing, flow, all that stuff. And Al just never seems to make a mistake, and he just brings everything you want. There's size and athleticism and shooting ability and passing, and so he makes the game really easy for everybody.
Steve, after the last game, you spoke about half-court spacing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what goes into spacing? Is it just five guys staying outside the three-point line? Is there something that I guess there's a particular aspect that we really want to focus in on?
Yeah, I mean, there's different spacing for different circumstances and different lineups. So you want to create the best possible spacing. Sometimes that means there's a big in the dunker. Sometimes it means you've got a guy in the corner, and then the other three guys are all around the three-point line, and there's nobody in the paint. There's all these things are possibilities, and we have to adjust and react to what the circumstances are. Last year we figured it out pretty quickly with Jimmy. Just give him the ball, get spaced, and then make a play. But cutting is also a part of spacing. So we not only have to work on where people are, but when they should cut as well.
You've talked a few times beyond Al's fit, just about how the significance of having a true stretch five. I'm guessing conceptually you've probably thought about that for a while. Did the flashes you had with Quinten last year sort of reinforce the value of that? And obviously, with Horford, you're getting not just the outside shooting, but an accomplished defender too.
Yeah, we didn't need to reinforce the value. We knew. We've known for years. Mike has been trying to, find a stretch five for the longest time. I would say Mo Spates was probably the one guy early on who could really stretch the floor, but it was kind of before we just decided everybody was going to be a three-point shooter. But he stretched the floor. He and Sean Livingston ran a pick and pop play that won us a million games over the years. And so it's the same dynamic. But most of the time here, we've been a too big lineup, kind of playing through screening, execution rather than just spacing and shooting from the five position.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Steve. Who are you sort of looking for in the second unit to sort of take on the ball handling duties, the sort of those point guard duties?
Well, right now we're playing Pat, kind of leading that unit. He's doing a great job. BP may end up playing with the second unit as a ball handler. What I always like is having multiple ball handlers, and so it could be, it can be other guys, sharing the ball, with the point guard, and it's one of the benefits of Al. He can handle the ball and run dribble handoffs and run pick and pops, handbacks, flip screens, and so you don't necessarily need, kind of a dominant ball handler.
Steve, is Seth Curry good to go tomorrow night?
I don't know. He scrimmaged today and he looked good, and I'm hoping that he's going to play tomorrow, but I haven't talked to Rick.
As you mentioned, needing to be able to win without the experienced players when it comes to Steph and Draymond, Jimmy, Al, so on and so forth. Throughout the preseason, when it comes to seeing you guys be able to win without them, do you expect to have a game where one or two of them is out, where all four of them is out? How do you use their workload throughout the preseason?
I would say Jimmy, Steph, Draymond, Al, they will all for sure miss a game somewhere in here. It won't be tomorrow. Everyone's going to play tomorrow. We'll kind of go from there.
Do you have a sense for kind of minute loads that you want for those guys, your vets?
For minutes tomorrow night?
Just I guess during the season, has there been any conversation about kind of what you're looking at,
Not
target
yet.
ranges?
Not yet.
And then do you see have you seen a rotation that you want take shape? Are there minutes available? Like, how is that taking shape?
Yeah. No, there's minutes available. We're just getting started here. So I know the group I started the other day was our best group last year. I know that's a group I like. We can plug in Al with anybody, whether it's, as one person subbing in, for one of those guys. That works great. We already know that. I'm really most interested in, the next group, who's coming off the bench, 6, 7, 8, how they mix with a couple of our starters, finding the right combinations in that regard.
Following up on that rotation question, you've talked in the past about, actually in your exit press conference last year, about giving Kuminga more of a chance with the big three, I guess. And he obviously had some time out there the other night with that lineup. What did you think? How did it look? Obviously just one game, I know.
Well, there wasn't much spacing, which is the big concern. And but we've got to, continue to give them some looks. I think Al kind of changes the equation here. I'm really intrigued to put Al and JK together, with Draymond or Jimmy. Like that lineup makes perfect sense. But it still feels to me like if we're trying to play Jimmy, JK, Draymond, just from the other night, immediately it was the spacing was not great, and it puts pressure on our offense to really have to execute. And but it's early in camp too, and so if we can execute the stuff we're trying to operate, then it can be effective. But it's just not a smooth fit.
What are your what expectations for next game? Is it just kind of more the same in terms of minutes? Starters play 15, or hoping to ramp up? the
Yeah,
minutes
I
a
haven't
bit?
talked to Rick yet, but I'll talk to him this afternoon. And I would imagine we usually ramp them up a little bit each game, so I would imagine it'll be a little bit more than the other night. But I'll wait and see what Rick says.
Hey, Steve, evergreen question for you. What's your favorite part about coming to practice, or let's say a morning shoot around, and what's your least favorite part about coming to practice?
What's my favorite? Just the interaction with all the guys. We always have a coaches meeting before practice, and really fun. Collaborating with the coaches and trying to figure out how to get better, and then same thing once we get out on the floor with the players. It's just the collaboration, the interaction with the guys. I think that's what I'm going to miss the most whenever my coaching is done. It's what every player misses when they retire, is just the guys being guys, the camaraderie and the fun. Least favorite? Thank you. Softball, yeah. Yeah.
Quinten, what stood out to you most from that first preseason game for you guys?
I thought it was a great opener for us, to get all the returners, to get their legs back, for the young guys like myself to get some run, and all in all, gave the coaching staff a great look of things that are working well, things that we need to address a little bit, but overall I thought it was a good first game.
In the second quarter, you spent some time with Al on the floor. What was that first game action like being next to him for you?
Yeah, I thought it worked pretty well. We played some zone together, but even in man, I think we should be fine. He obviously brings that versatility, both offensively and defensively. But I like playing with him. We've been having a lot of talk. Trying to pick his brain. Obviously, he's been in this league for so long, and now he's just a guy that you can plug into any system, any defensive scheme. So yeah, I really like this so far.
Where do you think he can help you? What sort of things are you guys talking about?
I mean, offensively, right now we play a similar role in our system, being a spacer. But then I think he's very good in looking for his own. Like, he's actually quite an aggressive player within being like a really good team player. And I feel like I can definitely learn from him, like where he picks his own spots to be aggressive, whether that be in the short roll or in quick seals. He's very aggressive with his shots. He even attacks the rims, the rim out of those closeouts, and then defensively he's just really steady from what I've seen right now. Like, he's just always in the right spots. Obviously, he's in great shape, and he's athletic for how old is Al? 39-year-old. Yeah, definitely a lot to learn, and trying to see what he does every day.
How do you physically feel, now compared to even middle of last year?
I feel like I'm in a great spot. Definitely want to get some more games under my belt to feel like you're in that true game shape. But overall, I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot. With my body.
Yeah, I mean, because you didn't play in summer league, the other night was kind of your first competitive action in quite a while. Did anything you worked on in the offseason kind of show up? Did you feel it on the court when you were back out there?
No, nothing too specific that I can immediately relate to my work in the off season. But I know that over the course of the season, whatever you did this off season will show. So that'll come.
Quinten, to follow up on all that, every young player wants to get stronger once they go through the NBA seasons a little bit. What was your process like going into the summer, trying to bulk up a little bit?
I mean, especially the first block of being back here. You get the first 2.5 weeks off. Our staff does a great job of getting a individualized schedule for you. So there was a lot of powerlifting-esque things, and you work on a diet, try to get enough protein in, and then the first 6 weeks are just weightlifting. Like you probably touch the ball 45 minutes a day, and then after that, after that block, you really start to focus on basketball, and you start to integrate, those that newfound strength into like more basketball patterns. So that's kind of how it looks. And then now we still focus on lifting, but it's really prioritizing basketball.
How would you describe like the competitive tenor of the scrimmages that you guys have been having?
Like in practice,
Yeah.
It's been great. I mean, you got the starters, and then I've been part of the second group usually, and we just try to make it as hard as possible for those guys. And I feel like it's been it's been just high level games where we try to make each other better. And I think we played some good games today, and just try to do that every day.
Quinten was just in here talking about, some of the nuances that you're trying to teach him, especially, he kind of plays in somewhat of a similar role. What have you seen from him early on and kind of, what he can maybe become?
Just a very high IQ type player, really understands how to play, and can really shoot the ball. And I just think that he's in the process of, finding his footing in the league. And, being a part of this team and this group, he understands what he has to do. And since I've been here in the Bay Area, every time I come in, I see him working. He's always working, whether it's in the weight room, on the court. He is consistent with his work, and he has the right tools to be successful because he listens, he works hard, and you can already see some flashes on the floor with him.
Steve and every player so far has emphasized what a seamless fit you look like in your first game. Did it feel seamless and easy to you, and if so, why?
It's I don't know if, in my eyes, I'm very hard on myself, and it was good. I know there's definitely ways that I can continue to be better, but they make it so easy for guys to come in here and kind of fit in with the group and what we're trying to do. And Draymond and Steph and obviously Coach putting us in positions to kind of go out there and play and fill the game out. So it has been an easy transition, but for me, I'm obviously still getting comfortable and familiar with everything. But I am encouraged, after that first game, some of the things that I saw and some of the things that I know that that we will all continue to get better at.
Steph used the word unspoken chemistry when talking about that give and go that you had with him early on. What's it been like for you to understand his movement, his constant movement, and finding him for open shots and so forth?
It's a level of awareness that, I've never really had to think about before like that. But when I'm on the floor with him, it's, the whole mindset is, trying to make the game easier for him. And for me, that is either getting him the ball or setting a good screen or doing anything that I can to make sure that our offense just kind of moves and flows. And he's such a smart player that it's easy to play off of him. And sometimes he'll kind of tell you what to do. Like, he passed me that ball, but I knew that it was like, he's going to cut. And so I guess that's the unspoken that he's talking about right there. He expected me to pass the ball, and I did. So, for me, it's just continuing to just play off his energy. He just does such a good job of terrifying everybody in the league every time he moves. So that's something that I'm going to look to take advantage of.
What was your impression of playing with Draymond? Just first game, what was it like playing with him, and how do you see how you guys fit together on the court?
It's great to play alongside him just because he's a guy that's going to protect his teammates on the defensive end like no other, and he's gonna have our back. I felt like he had my back out there. He allowed me to go out and make some plays. I felt comfortable enough to go out and try to be aggressive and block some shots and do things, but he's there kind of supporting. and you know, he's just you know, he's the leader of the team, and you know, he's somebody that I'm paying close attention to, and really trying to you know, pick stuff off of him, and just really you know, get a good feel with him out there. But playing with him, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy, and I feel like it gives me a lot of freedom defensively.
Al, you mentioned the other day that you didn't really know these guys before signing here that well. You just competed against them a lot. What was it that you saw from the culture from a distance that made you think that you could fit in really well here?
The two things that I saw is consistency. You know, with this group, they've been great for so long, and then just the way that they play. You know, that ball movement, how the ball moves, and how these guys are getting to their spots, their positions, and really trying to play team basketball. It's something that I've always respected and enjoyed watching them. It's so difficult to defend that type of style. And that's the one thing that really got my attention here. And when you have guys that are just such smart basketball players, and a Draymond and a Steph, and making reads and the passes, they're already anticipating before the defense is even, you know. So just all those things is what was really attractive to me to come here.
For years, Looney was really well regarded for his screen setting. What are the keys to setting good screens, and are there any unique challenges to setting good screens in this ball movement, player movement, offensive system?
Yeah, no, yeah. Looney's it's a great screener, and for me, I take pride in setting screens as well, and the whole thing is just understanding, you know, what we're trying to accomplish with each screen and in different positions in the floor. And as I continue to learn the offensive system and everything, it's something that I'm being very mindful of and trying to be good at.
Steve said he wants to get you in some lineups with Kuminga, just because, you know, what your spacing can do for him. I'm curious your early impressions of you know, playing with Jonathan and what he can do, kind of maybe off some of the space you're providing.
No, I think it's great. You know, I feel like you know, JK with his athleticism and the way that he moves, and how much pressure he generates on the rim, it's going to be great. I feel like with me and him out there, I feel like I'll be able to give him some space, and you know, he probably won't always have an extra defender there, and if he does, then, you know, I'm going to be open, and, you know, we're going to either I'm going to shoot her or we're going to get a really good shot. So I think it's really good, and he's the type of player that's just fun to play with, a guy like that, because he, you know, the pace that he wants to play at, and how he wants to attack the basket. You know, I actually enjoy playing it in that way, and I know we played very little last game, but I'm sure that we'll continue to play more and more and get more familiar with one another.
Al, back here. I apologize if you were asked this earlier. I missed the first few questions. But there's been a lot of chatter, obviously, about the age of the core. It's very unusual to have 4 starters or 4 key players 35 or older. How do you view that equation? How much can that experience help you guys as you chase a championship? And what do you need to do to sort of, and Steve's talked about managing minutes and, you know, handling it realistically. How do you view that whole dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people make a big deal out of the core, and that's kind of understandable. But the way that I see our group, we have a lot of depth. I see a lot of guys that are working really hard, and guys that are very capable in our group. So I'm not worried about it just because of our depth. I feel like we have guys here that can step in and contribute and have big nights. And it's a very long season. And as you know, in the NBA, you know, you're going to need the teams that are usually have more depth, or the teams that are going to be more successful. So I'm sure that they'll figure out how they're going to play us and all those things. But the priority for me is to, you know, make sure that I stay healthy throughout the regular season. And that's my focus right now. And when we get to the postseason, that's a whole nother level.
And how important is it that some of that depth Kuminga, Brandon is really young, like 22, 23.
No, it's very important because we don't have to feel like we don't have to hold back with any of them. We can just go, and they're going to get a lot of opportunities and a lot of chances, and for them, they have to be ready for that. They have to make sure that they're taking care of themselves, that they're preparing themselves, because it's going to be a lot. So that's how I think it's gonna work itself out.
Thanks, Al. I was just wondering when Quinten Post, when he blitzes the guard and you're on the backside, first of all, is that like a man or zone? And then how do you close out? What's your technique on closing out on that corner three?
Yeah, so that's just a read that Quinten's making, and if he blitz, then we kind of have to rally behind him, and depending on the shooter it is on the corner, that'll determine my closeout. If I'm going to take away the shot, or if I'm going to close out more flat and try to contain the ball a little more. It depends on personnel, and that's kind of how we play it.